The gold rush of streaming is gone, but that doesn't mean that streaming is going to go away. It's going to return to the same way it was before we had that spike of views in 2020. And 14-year-old me might have liked DDG having a 2-hour conversation with India Love, but 21-year-old me could not care less. So if you've been paying attention to the internet lately, a lot of people have come to the conclusion that streaming is dying. Now, the reason a lot of people are saying this is because stream views have dropped drastically, mostly because Twitch has done that recent crackdown on streamers view botting. Now, I already had a video about this where I talked about my opinion on that, and honestly, in my opinion, I don't really think view botting is that bad because Twitch has really low discoverability. If you don't believe me, look at the popular streamer Ludwig trying to restart his streaming channel from zero and realizing how hard it was just to get one viewer. If I'm not mistaken, I could be quoting it wrong, but in his video, I think it literally took him 1 or 2 days just to get one viewer.
Yesterday, I went live on a brand new Twitch account, and I did not end the stream until I got a first-time chatter, until somebody came into chat. It took 5 hours. I was dead ass talking to myself, yes, camera on, mic on, for 5 hours. I was just by myself for 5 hours.
And keep in mind, this is a really popular streamer who has thousands and thousands of viewers and has been doing this for a very long time. So it's not like a skill issue where just his content was super bad. It was literally just the discoverability of it. And honestly, just being a small YouTuber, I think that's something that I've always said too. Platform where you already don't have motion and people don't really know you, it can be really hard to build up that faithful audience. Sadly today, a lot of people have that herd mentality where they just want to go to what's popular. They want to watch the streamers who are already popular because they think that's the hottest thing to watch. Now, honestly, I can't blame people for doing this because, like I said, people have a limited amount of time anyway. So if they're going to watch something on their free time, most of the time they want to make sure it's good. Except you people who watch Tubi movies. For the life of me, bro, I cannot understand why some people like watching low quality films. I'm talking to you, mom. Anyway, like I said, the recent consensus with streaming is that it's a dead platform that is not going to really take you anywhere. And honestly, I think it's a good reason for that. And it's IRL streaming. During COVID, which was actually the peak of Twitch in viewership, a lot of people were introduced to streaming. And with that, a lot of people were introduced to just chatting streaming and IRL streaming. Which originally, I saw nothing wrong with IRL streaming. I think it was something that should have been done pretty much since the get-go, which is also another misconception that a lot of people have. A lot of people think streaming was always IRL streaming, and that's not true at all. See, Twitch came out in 2011. And originally, when streaming first came out, the only type of content that you could make on there was gaming content. This was something I knew because when I was younger, all I used to watch was gaming content. So back in the day, I used to watch Black Hole Kage when he would stream on Twitch. And that was kind of like my first introduction into the gaming side of it. I think Ninja was really popular back in the day too. I know Ninja was really popular back in the day when he was streaming Fortnite and stuff like that. But just to put it into perspective, Twitch was so exclusively gaming. If you weren't gaming, you literally got banned off of Twitch. If you don't believe me, look at a person like Ice Poseidon. Ice Poseidon was really the first person to kind of do the IRL streams. A lot of people think it was like Casanat. Now, Casanat definitely popularized it, but Ice Poseidon was really the first person that I could think of who tried. He dealt with his fair share of banning while he was doing this. I think at one point in Twitch, there kind of became a point where they allow people to eat or do mukbangs while they were streaming. So he would literally do these IRL streams and hold a bag of chips or something and just eat a chip while he was walking around to say it was a mukbang, which honestly, in my opinion, is pretty smart. But he definitely still faced a lot of pushback from Twitch for doing things like that. See, the biggest problem with IRL streaming is for a lot of people, it's really not sustainable. And honestly, I feel like at this point, it's gotten really boring because I feel like I'm seeing all the same stuff with different people. Even with Kai streams, to be honest. And Mafiathon 3 is going on right now, but I look at something like Mafiathon 2. He had a whole bunch of people on there. Chris Brown, Glorilla. I can't remember if Sexy Red was on Mafiathon 2. She might have been. But let's go to other people I know he's had on the stream. Kevin Hart, Bees, Lit Baby. Whenever he had all of these guests on, a lot of the time, they would do the exact same things every stream. He would bring them on the stream and they would listen to AMP Cypher. They would play that game wherever they like guess what was in the box, and he would talk and troll them for 30 or 40 minutes. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a distinct style to your content, and actually I feel like it's good because most of the time people know what they're going to get and they're more likely to click if they know what they're going to get from you. But at a certain point, I feel like people are going to get tired of you doing the exact same thing over and over and over again. The only type of content that I feel like is immune to this is commentary, the type of content that I do. Because people are always going to want to hear you talk about different things, which honestly is the reason why I chose commentary content. Whenever I started doing YouTube, I knew I didn't want to do pranks. I didn't want to do something that was going to require me to pay money every single time I wanted to do a video. Because like I said, that's not sustainable. And then if you're starting from zero, you're not monetized, so you're not even guaranteed to get something back from it. And that's something that So Illuminati recently talked about whenever he was talking about new people trying to IRL stream.
It's becoming harder and harder for to become streamers because all y'all think y'all need to be doing IRLs. Y'all all trying to be like these niggas at the top. You got motherfuckers talking about desktop streaming is dying. How is that even possible? It's not even possible. It's just the you watching. And remember, this ain't got nothing to do with the groups or none of that. You should already know who the I'm talking about. I don't even have to say no names. And to be honest with you, FaZe and AMP and all them, they chilling. They good. These got all the resources, bro. These elites. Y'all know the elites. I'm talking about y'all new. Y'all are getting caught in a wave y'all gonna die in. This shit that y'all seeing is not sustainable.
I feel like what a lot of you guys have to realize is that you're not going to be able to compete with the top people. You're not going to have the same amount of connections as Kai. You're not going to be able to go to different countries and do different stuff every day like Duke. The likelihood of you being able to do that when you're starting from zero is really low. Now, I don't want you to hear me say that and feel like you shouldn't try, but I think as a content creator, you have to have the recognition to know that you are running a really hard race if you do things like that. And I know several people in person and in my personal life who have tried to do IRL streaming. And while I feel like most of their content is good and enjoyable to a certain extent, I feel like the average viewer will not want to watch them go to a party or hang out with some random girls if they could watch Cassinet and Duke throw a huge swimming pool party at their mansion, or they could watch DDG hang out with the hottest Instagram model. I don't know. It's a really hard field to break into, and you have to really recognize that. And they're not the only two people doing it. These fields are really oversaturated right now. Even to a certain extent, when I watch people like Rakai, like Rod, Reggie even, Tylil, a lot of them are mimicking what Kai has done. And there's nothing wrong with that. You should mimic stuff that leads to success. But at the same time, when a viewer goes on a platform and every single piece of content looks the exact same, a lot of the time it could lead to fatigue. People aren't going to want to watch the same stuff over and over and over and over again. Now, things having the same premise is an okay thing. To draw a comparison, I would think of something like TV. Power and BMF are similar shows. They follow that gangster role premise. They're even made by the same person or produced by the same person. I don't know if 50 Cent really made it, but the storylines are completely different. And the content and the characters of them are completely different as well. So that's why I feel like both of these shows could be successful. Now let's bring it back to streaming. I think of a person like Lil Yachty. Lil Yachty has been on Ride's stream, on plaqueboymax's stream, and on Cots and Nash stream. Now, to be fair, when he's on his streams, sometimes he does different things. But a lot of the time, bro, I really feel like when I see him on the stream, I'm getting the same type of content from him. And I feel like that's why people are tuning in less and less, because they probably feel the exact same way as me. Another reason why I feel like people aren't tuning in to streaming is just because I feel like a lot of us have gotten older and had more responsibility. The main reason I feel like viewership spiked in 2020 is because a lot of us probably had nothing to do or weren't going to work. We were at home a lot just trying to find stuff to watch. But now fast forward 5 years, if I'm 21, 25, 30, and now I got a job that I have to go to every day, I just don't have time to watch a 6-hour stream, nor do I want to watch a 6-hour stream. Most of the time when I come home, I want to watch something that's like 20, 30 minutes, something to just get me by while I'm eating my food or something like that. And from what I've heard, a lot of people feel similar to me. Honestly, bro, the only people that I've heard who actually watch the whole streams are people who don't have a lot to do at the moment or children. And people are always shocked when they see that Cots and Nash audience is mostly kids. But bro, that's why. Who else is gonna stay in a stream for 10 hours? Even if I wanted to stay in constant stream for 10 hours, I can't because I have stuff to do. I think it's just a thing of people having to realize what the climate of the world is right now. A lot of people are comparing it to the gold rush and this being after the gold rush. And honestly, I feel like they're completely right. The gold rush of streaming is gone, but that doesn't mean that streaming is going to go away. It's going to return to the same way it was before we had that spike of views in 2020. Even IRL to a certain extent, I feel like will not go anywhere. Honestly, bro, from my point of view, I don't really like watching this content because I feel like it's a bunch of brain rot. And I feel like a lot of the time, unless they're doing something super special, like these 6 hour just chatting streams, bro, I don't want to watch you talk for 6 hours, bro. And most of the time in these streams, it feels like I'm literally watching absolutely nothing happen. And 14-year-old me might have liked DDG having a 2-hour conversation on India Love, but 21-year-old me could not care less. So to answer that question directly, is IRL streaming going anywhere? No, but it might have just have hit its peak and it's probably going to plateau from here on out. Now for new and upcoming streamers, if you want to do IRL and that's your passion, go for it. Because just like they told me at DreamCon, it's always an audience for what you want to do. But you have to realize how big that audience is at that specific point in time. Now, something I do prophesy is happening is that I feel like gaming streaming is going to come back and be the main forefront of streaming. Why? Because it's literally the most sustainable way of streaming and it's the most entertaining. I can always to this day watch somebody play a game if they have an interesting personality with it. It's why to this day I still watch Corey Kenshin, because not only do I enjoy watching him play the game, I enjoy his humorous remarks that he makes while doing it. And I think that's why Twitch was initially a only gaming platform. Don't get me wrong, I feel like it takes real talent to be able to entertain somebody by just talking for 6 hours a day, but I really don't understand how they do it. And not just like twice or 3 times a week, like every day. Like these people stream every single day, which is why some people have called it the new modern age. Now, I wouldn't go that far because I feel like ultimately streaming is a choice. These people are voluntarily choosing to do this. But I understand what they're saying, because if you really look at that, streaming as a job could be harder than working a 9 to 5. And that's coming from a person who works 10, 12-hour shifts. Even though I work these 10 to 12-hour shifts, I have downtime while doing it. When you do an 8, 10-hour stream, you are constantly the main attraction and you are constantly doing work. That's like being at your fast food job and there never being quiet time where there's not a customer. That's like it literally being busy the entire 10-hour shift that you're there. Now, obviously the jobs are a lot different, being that one is like physical labor and one is just mental labor. But don't get it confused and think that mental labor does not have a toll on your body as well. That's why, unfortunately, I feel like plaqueboymax has ran into those health complications. I believe Phantom has run into health complications from streaming too much as well. And I feel like things like that just have to be taken into account. So honestly, the best advice I could give if you're a new person trying to stream is, again, just think about the type of content that you're gonna make. Is streaming going anywhere? No, you're always gonna have a lane in it. But don't think it's just some gold rush to where you could just upload 4 or 5 streams and you're famous, you're constant at, you're Duke Dennis. That's just not how it goes. A lot of the time, bro, you gotta crawl before you walk. Even popular streamer Jinxie streamed a whole year to one person before he even started catching traction. So think about this. This is gonna be hard. This is not an easy journey to where yesterday you were poor and tomorrow you're rich. Now, of course, there are outlier stories of people who do pick up pretty fast and do gain traction really fast, but that's not everybody. Even somebody like Queso, who got traction really quickly, gave up streaming for a few years and came back before he really got consistent and was able to monetize and make it his job. So just take that into account. My final thoughts on it: streaming is not going anywhere again, but IRL streaming, I do feel like is on a downturn. And I feel like gaming streaming will eventually take its place back as the king. Now, how long that would take or when that happens, only time will tell. But one day I think that we'll see it become a reality. That's pretty much all I got for this video. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Every little bit helps and every bit is much appreciated. But look, before you go, I just wanted to tell you,
bye.